Alright peeps, you know so it's about Dark Horse with another story with themselves though. So if I dive in on the story, check it out, pick out sense out the nonsense cause I got today here for don't. You see me? Just remember to like, subscribe, share. Like again, subscribe again, share again. You see me? Now yes the time I jump on the video.
The most read book in history holds a secret in its first pages, a secret so profound that it challenges the logic of our very existence. History tells us about Adam, Eve, and their three sons, Cain, Abel, and Seth. But if only men were born, one question has haunted scholars for millennia. How did humanity multiply? Where did Cain's wife come from, and Seth's? Genesis states that Adam begat sons and daughters. But then, why are none of them named? Why were their stories completely erased from the record? Were there other humans outside the Garden of Eden, or did daughters of Eve exist whose lives were intentionally silenced? Prepare yourself. We are about to unveil a lost chapter from the dawn of humanity. The fall and the first blood. Expelled from Eden, Adam and Eve didn't just lose a home. They lost innocence, closeness to the divine. They were cast eastward into a hostile and unknown land where they began a new life as survivors. And it was in this exile that their children were born. Genesis is clear. After he begat Seth, Adam lived 800 years and begat other sons and daughters. Without women, humanity would have no future. So why does the Bible focus only on the story of Cain, Abel, and Seth? The first to arrive was Cain, the firstborn, carrying the weight of pioneering a new world. Soon after came Abel. Though brothers, they were opposites. Cain, the farmer, had hands calloused by the earth. Abel, the shepherd, had heaven's peace in his gaze, a peace that Cain never understood and secretly began to hate. One day, both brought an offering to God. Cain, the fruits of his labor. Abel, the firstborn of his flock, the richest portion, the best he possessed. God accepted
Basically, it tell me say Cain I did the first bad man on earth. You know me? First bad man because God prefer blood sacrifice than vegetables and fruits. You see me? That him envy with them. So that I start a bad man. See? The number one.
Warning, a chance for redemption. But Cain chose his own path. Let us go to the field, he said to Abel, and there in the silence of the earth, envy exploded. Cain attacked his brother. The first murder in history stained the soil with innocent blood. Death, for the first time, came not by accident but by hatred. God's voice echoed in Cain's mind, "Where is your brother Abel?" And Cain, with a hardened heart, lied, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Then came the sentence, "What have you done? Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed." The mystery. The Bible doesn't explain Cain's life changed forever, but it's in the midst of his curse that a puzzling detail emerges. Cain cries out to God, "Today you drive me from this land, and whoever finds me will kill me." Whoever. Who else could find him if only his parents and he existed in the world? Who was Cain afraid of? This phrase hides a deep mystery. Either Cain knew that other peoples existed, or God revealed to him that they would exist. To protect him, God placed a mark on Cain. We don't know if it was a physical, spiritual, or symbolic mark, only that it was enough so that no one would dare touch him. Then Cain departed to the land of Nod, which means story becomes even more intriguing. The text says, Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. And Cain built a city and named it after his son. Wait, what wife, and how did he build a city? No one builds a city for just 3 people. This requires a community, workers, families. Where did all these people come from? Here, 3 hypotheses emerge. Urbi hypothesis. 1. Marriage with his sister. The first theory, and the most accepted by tradition, is that Cain married his own sister. Though disturbing to us today, at the beginning of creation, marriages between close relatives would be inevitable to populate the earth. At that time, there were no divine laws yet prohibiting incest. Furthermore, people lived for centuries. Adam lived 930 years, enough time to have dozens of sons and daughters who formed new generations. Even the great patriarchs of Israel, like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, married close relatives. Without these unions, the nation of Israel would not exist. Everything points to a system.
You never get the city
But
part
if
in the
that's
Bible
the
still,
case,
but
why does the
I'm sitting in
Bible,
a
so
story.
detailed with genealogies,
So I react to
remain
the city.
silent precisely here?
A man can build city for him and him wife alone,
The
even
other
if
peoples
I
of
then
God. This leads us to
surprisingly
the second
find a one
hypothesis,
wife
much more controversial.
and one of them sister
What
them.
if
You
God
can't build city
created
with him
other
and him
human
sister alone.
beings besides
Mhm.
Adam and Eve? The
Where then the
idea is
people are come
radical
from,
and not
again.
explicit in the
So I
Bible,
tell us it's a
but it
twisted
tries to
truth.
fill in the gaps.
Them not really give
Cain's
you full
fear,
100 story.
his wife and the city he
You see
built
me?
could be explained if there were other peoples in the world. Some argue that the story of Adam and Eve is the main focus, but not the only creation story. However, this theory conflicts directly with the core of Christian faith. The Apostle Paul states that from one man, God made all nations. If we all descend from Adam, we all share his fall and all have access to redemption. If other lineages existed, the gospel message would be fractured. Therefore, most theologians reject this idea. Hypothesis 3. The revelation from the lost book. But there's a third possibility, one that doesn't come from the canonical text, but from an ancient book, preserved on the margins of history, the Book of Jubilees.
First time
Written in
people
the
would
2nd
live like
century BC, it's called
900,
the Book of
1000,
because it
2000
expands the first
years.
stories of the Bible
And
with
now,
impressive details.
we can't live half of that. Me personally feel like
The Book of Jubilees states that
them used to
Adam and
check
Eve
night
had
and day,
daughters,
like
and
how
more
we do
than
at
that,
prison now.
it gives us
Isn't
their
it?
names.
Only way
According
that
to
me
this
see.
ancient source, Cain's wife was named Awan. Yes, Cain married his sister Awan, and she wasn't the only one. The text also presents us with Azura, another daughter of Adam and Eve, who became Seth's wife, the third son. Suddenly, humanity's first family structure is revealed. Cain and Awan, Seth and Azura. Two families, two destinies. Awan, mother of the exile lineage. The Book of Jubilees reveals that Awan was born 6 years after Cain. Her name in ancient Hebrew is linked to sadness and sin, but also to desire and strength. Awan represents the woman who carried life forward in exile through the cursed lineage that arose after Abel's death. It was with her, in the land of Nod, that Cain had his son Enoch and built his city. She is the mother of a people born far from God. Azura, mother of the promised lineage. In direct contrast stands Azura. Her name is linked to the blue of the sky and to lapis lazuli, a precious stone associated with purity, truth, and the divine. The Book of
Alright, the next thing
Jubilees
I
tells
puzzle me
something
again.
fascinating. Azura had been promised to
me no
Abel
believe
before his death.
One
With the
nation
tragedy,
can
she was given
bring
to
forth
Seth. Their
every
union
other
was not
nation.
by chance. It
Isn't
was
it?
God's way of restoring the
Personally,
lineage of righteousness.
cannot.
From the marriage of Seth and Azura was born Enos, and with him something extraordinary happened. Genesis says, "Then men began to call upon the name of the Lord. For the first time, human beings actively sought God. Worship was born through Azura's lineage. She symbolizes humanity's return to God." The two lineages and the corruption of the world. From here, history divides into two paths. Cain's descendants built cities, forged weapons, and created a culture of power and pride. Meanwhile, the lineage of Seth and Azura cultivated something deeper, a living memory of God. From this lineage would come Enoch, the man who walked with God and was no more because God took him, then Methuselah, and finally Noah. But something terrible happened. Genesis 6 says that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful and took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. The righteous lineage of Seth began to mix with Cain's lineage, the alliance that should never have happened. From this union were born the Nephilim, Giants, men of great violence, who filled the earth with cruelty. The word Nephilim means the fallen ones. They were heroes to the world, but monsters to God. Ancient books like Enoch and Jubilees go further, stating that fallen angels, called Watchers, descended to earth, taught men forbidden secrets, sorcery, astrology, warfare, and united with human women, generating these giants. The corruption became total. God's regret and the last hope. Human wickedness reached an unbearable point. And then we read one of the saddest passages in the Bible. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. On the brink of moral collapse, God pronounced his judgment. I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth. But in the midst of darkness, God found one man. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. He wasn't perfect, but he was faithful. Noah and his family were the last remnants of the righteous lineage of Seth and Azura, and because of him, humanity was not extinct. The flood was not just a judgment, it was a new beginning, a second chance. The forgotten women who saved humanity, and so history begins again. But while the names of patriarchs fill the pages, the names of women remain in the shadows. Without them, humanity's tree would have no roots. When Cain was exiled, it was Awan who walked beside him, carrying the weight of a curse that wasn't hers, and giving birth to a people born in darkness. While Cain's lineage moved away, it was Azura who continued the promise, bearing the son through whom humanity would pray again. These daughters, erased from official history, were the root of everything that came after. Along with them, Naamah, Noah's wife, Sarah, Abraham's wife, Rebecca, Leah, Rachel, women whose lives, tears, and faith were the silent foundation of God's plan. Conclusion: trust above answers. God's plans are greater than our minds can comprehend. We want instant answers, precise details, but he doesn't ask us for absolute understanding. He invites us to trust. The Bible reminds us, my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways. The map he left us doesn't explain all mysteries, but reveals what is truly important, his plan of redemption and his desire to walk with us. But now, the question is for you. Who do you believe was Cain's wife? One of his sisters, as the Book of Jubilees suggests? Or do you believe in another theory?